Welcome to Walking the Earth. Today we are in Lumbini, Nepal, in the Mahayana monastic zone of the Sacred Garden. And directly behind me, we have the Vietnamese Mahayana Temple and Monastic Complex. Now, we did a video on the front side of it and discussed a little bit about Buddhism in Vietnam, but I left a few points out that I wanted to discuss. And here you have a better view of kind of the Chinese influence on Vietnamese architecture in the building directly over here. And then over to the side a little bit, there's a model of the Mahabodhi temple that's present, that's in Bodh Gaya in Bihar. And I mentioned in the other video Thich Nhat Hanh and how he is the most widely known representative of Buddhism out of Vietnam that I'm aware of. And he's from the Zen tradition. But there are other types of Buddhism that are present in Vietnam. Like I said, in the northern areas, because Vietnam had been ruled by China for about 1,000 years, there was a strong, and there still is a strong influence from the Confucian tradition, from the Taoist tradition, and from various Buddhist traditions, because Buddhism has been present in China for 2,000 years approximately. And so many different types of Buddhism evolved within China and then spread to its territories and its vassals, including northern Vietnam. And what I was saying in the other video is that there were Mahayana influences from mainland, I mean, not from mainland, but from island Southeast Asia, from the Srivijaya Empire, from the Khmer, and from, Java and Sumatra, which had strong Mahayana and even later Vajrayana tantric influences, and then spread their expressions of Buddhism and different other aspects of Indian religion and culture into southern Vietnam, which come up and then meet the northern expressions that have come down via land and sea. So a lot of southern Chinese influences were present in Vietnam, and then combined with other types of Buddhism. So we have strong Zen influences and Pure Land influences. Pure Land seems to have some interesting connections to the Abrahamic tradition, in the sense that there are these bodhisattvas, which or kind of celestial Buddhas, I should say, that have their own pure lands, like a heavenly realm, where if you have enough faith and devotion and recite their name with enough faith and devotion, you can be reborn after death in this heaven, in a pure realm, where then it's possible for you to have all of the best conditions to attain enlightenment as quickly as possible. For instance, in our current realm, the way it is, it's very challenging to attain enlightenment. So within the Pure Land realm, from my understanding, what makes it difficult is like, so in the Buddhist time, we could depend on self-power, and we could attain enlightenment based on seeds of enlightenment within ourselves, and with enough effort and faith, and then we could eventually attain enlightenment personally, and at least become an arhat, or go deep on the bodhisattva path, or in rare instances become a complete Buddha. But then since we are in an age of time where everything's in a decayed state, where there's so much negativity, so much evil in the world, that we have to depend on other power. It is a very long, arduous, difficult path to attain enlightenment on our own. So we look to others to help us in attaining enlightenment. So in the Pure Land tradition, there are these kind of cosmic celestial Buddhas that they will chant their names, kind of like in the Islamic tradition, the Sufis and others will make dhikr and recite names of Allah. And then in the Eastern Christian tradition, they will recite the Jesus prayer, and within the Western monastic tradition of Christianity, they recite various prayers as well, repetitively, until the heartbeat syncs up with the recital, and they're reciting 24/7, silently or aloud, remembering God always. Well, in Pure Land Buddhism, they will recite the different names of these celestial Buddhas, whether it's Amitabha Buddha, or whether it is, there are a number of celestial Buddhas, and excuse me, it's been so long since I studied these things, so I wish I would have had more time to delve in before doing these videos. So I'm going on memory. I believe it's called Shin Buddhism, by the way, of Pure Land Buddhism, and it's very popular in Hawaii and in Japanese areas, but it's very important within Vietnam as well, and I believe Korea. And so this Pure Land Buddhism, they will recite the celestial Buddhas. You can look them up. I believe there are 5 celestial Buddhas. And they also have an expression of Pure Land Buddhism within the Tibetan tradition. So if you are, at the moment of death, if you have the name of one of these celestial Buddhas on your tongue and you say it with enough faith, then you will instantly be reborn in a Pure Land. And this is a very important tradition within Vietnam. Also, there are a couple major philosophical schools within Mahayana Buddhism, which means the greater vehicle, which is in contrast to what they call Hinayana, or the lesser vehicle, which includes Theravada Buddhism and the other early schools, which the Mahayanists tended to look at as less powerful to attain enlightenment. And so they believed that the Mahayana teachings were a quicker vehicle to attain enlightenment, and that monastics and lay people, non-monastics, could attain enlightenment within this very lifetime. Well, within the Pure Land, they just saw that the recital of the names, this mantra, it's a mantra-yana, is a quick vehicle and doesn't require as much effort on the lay practitioner's part or the monastic's part. So they would practice their ethics, but also have a mantra that they would practice. So the name of a Buddha. So it's like within Japan, you've got Soka Gakkai and the Nichiren movement, different expressions of Pure Land that are very popular to this day. So Soka Gakkai is spread into the West, and there are many people. I believe Orlando Bloom, who's famous from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He is, and Tina Turner, they're both from the Soka Gakkai movement. So they're Pure Land practitioners, but a more modern version. And so they will often have like some prayer beads, a mala, which is similar to what you see within Islam, the different schools of Christianity. So they will recite with their prayer beads and recite the names over and over again. If I could remember, one of the phrases from the Pure Land tradition, I would recite it, but I don't remember off the top. But you can look that up from the Nichiren tradition, from Soka Gakkai, and Pure Land. Do those keyword searches, and then you can hear how they do their dhikr, how they do their mantras. It's very interesting. But this is very popular there. And out of the 2 main philosophical schools, you have the Madhyamika, which is the middle path school, that's derived from Nagarjuna. And then you have the Yogacara school, which is the yoga school, also Chitta Matra, mind only. And that's very important within the Zen tradition, and I believe had a big influence on the Pure Land as well. So I won't discuss those in this video. They're very sophisticated, and it's like I would suggest that you go to a channel where they have like a scholar of Mahayana to better explain these things. This is just a brief overview, and this is also like I'm making personal connections to this place, and this will aid me and assist me in my future studies as I do comparative studies of the contemplative traditions across the world. So again, this is the Vietnamese Mahayana Temple complex. I'm not sure what this volcano is. It's kind of over the top, but you can see the Chinese influences on the pagoda architecture, but also you can see the connections to the Nepali pagoda tradition, which is quite interesting. And then the Mahabodhi model over here, the replica, is similar to the northern Indian Hindu temples. I believe they call it Shikara or Shikra, the traditions. Forgive me for my mispronunciations, but you can see kind of a pyramidal structure, and it's similar to the corn cob style pagodas that you see in Myanmar, in Burma, to this day. So we'll go ahead and draw this to a close, but let's appreciate our human traditions of knowledge seeking and of contemplation, and take benefit from what our ancestors all across the world have fought so hard to preserve and pass forward to us. Until next time, be happy.